The past performances have gone final, which means we can run the model and we can look at race lens and the angles for not only the San Felipe Stakes, but also the late pick four at Santa Anita Park for this Saturday. We'll look at how we did last week, and we'll try to give you some more insight into who you want to pay attention to on the late pick four at Santa Anita. Colin Sheen here on Doubling Down. And we wanted to do a little bit of what we did last week. Last week, we gave you a pick five at Oak Lawn Park, the late pick five, although it wasn't late because it didn't end in the last race. And Explorer was a single that we talked about. That's who the model came up with for the single on that ticket. And it was correct there. The model wasn't correct in picking up Class President, who only had a few races on the sheets and just did not get it done. However, at Tampa Bay, I wish I had given out the Tampa Bay ticket because it was on fire at Tampa Bay. Hit the late pick five. Unfortunately, I played the late pick six. And although I had two tickets that had the combination of all the winners, I didn't have one ticket that had all the winners. And that's what happens a little bit in the ABC model, because in the leg one of the pick six, I had a B horse and a C horse won, I think, leg four at 22-1. On my other ticket, I had the C horse, but I didn't have the B horse. If that first race has an A designated to that horse, I hit it. I didn't play the pick five. It paid $2,000. So I know that we're on to something, and I know the structure of the tickets is right. Let's see if we can use it to try and figure out where we land at Santa Anita, another track that the model does pretty well at. In fact, let's look at the results of that model. I don't run it every single day just because of other things going on in life, but you can look, over the last 10 times we've run it, it's hitting it above 25% and doing really, really well. In fact, on Sunday, it hit at 35%, Saturday, it hit at 25%, and that is the top ranked horse winning. And we're even getting some more positive, close to positive ROI here on just betting every horse straight up on the win. That's not the best strategy, so we're trying to narrow it down and figure out which tracks do we do best at. Look at this on February 17th. We actually had 100% ROI with a 78% top-ranked horse winning. We're on to something. We will stick with it, and we'll do this with all of you. This is my first time actually looking at this late pick four, so I know you're supposed to come in here maybe more prepared than what you'll get, but I think presenting you the data as we talk through it together is just as intriguing. Here at Racelens, you have angles. And speaking of Racelens, I'm going to be at NHC in the Racelens booth. So if anybody out there has qualified for NHC, please come by and say hello. We're going to have a lot of great giveaways, and you'll get some opportunities to get your hands on Racelens. Brant, the number 4, this is the $3 million horse for the Bob Baffert barn, has a positive angle on there, which is horses in their last race at Del Mar returning in a grade 1. So it's actually supposed to be a negative angle, trying to track horses coming out of the Breeders' Cup, thinking that they would drop off. But now that we are well removed from that, it's looking at all horses that previously raced in a grade 1. Brant gets that positive angle there. And let's look at what the model came up with. We just ran it. So we're kicking off that late pick 4. Here is race 8 at Santa Anita, and it does have Brant on top. My model is built primarily on speed figures, pace, and class. And when you look at Brant's past performances, those speed figures of 90, 96, 105, including the 105 in the Breeders' Cup, which got a 102 for Equibase class, I'd be willing to bet that there's no one else that's going to be close to that. And I'm pretty accurate. Actually, so happy. Ran in the San Vicente. That race got a 99 class rating, and he earned a 100. So that's intriguing there, with Mike Smith returning back aboard. A horse who was sitting just off the pace in both those races actually has a trouble indicator in that last race. I love about Racelens, we can pop it up. The trouble indicator recommended or said that he was bumped at the start. You can quickly look at the replay. You can watch the start, and we can see if so happy. It's only a 5-horse field, So, So Happy is your number 2. Watch it one more time. Yeah, bumped a little bit, but nothing I think that you have to take into too much consideration. So Brant comes out on top, has a 99 in my scoring. It's listed as a dominant front runner, and it will be highlighted blue when there's a difference between at least 10 points. I think it actually bumped it up to 12 points between first and second. Potente, So Happy, who we just mentioned, shows up third, and Secured Freedom, the number 3, shows up as the fourth ranked horse. But what we showed you last week was my new ABC model, where it rates horses as ABC, and it actually came back with Brant as a single. So similar to Explorer last week. What are your opinions on Brant? Drop that in the comments. Is he a single? I think that you're going to be a little bit jaded, especially in some of these races with my model of the horses that haven't raced a ton or that have put up some really staggering figures compared to the rest of the field. And that 105, aside from So Happy's 100, really does tower above the field. Brant gets your actually second in average class, but first in average speed, first in true odds, first in earnings per start, first in early middle pace, late pace. Thoughts on Brant will be important on how we put together this late pick 4. Taking a look at race number 9, Kilroy Mile. It's a mile on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. The class rating is not out yet. Field of 8. The model, and I was actually astronomer when I looked through this really quickly, popped up before I even looked at my model. I was thinking about astronomer, and look at that. 8-1 comes up as an A horse with El Potente. Maybe you'll do the Potente El Potente daily double there. In the top 4 rankings, it's astronomer. So we go 8-3-2-4, and we get 8-3-2. It has the 8 and the 3 as A horses, with the 2 as a B horse. The number 1 has a off of 180-day layoff in a route in the graded stakes. That's a positive angle, a really high positive ROI of 74%. It's out of 70 starts as well. We can click details really quickly and see. So there was a 68-1 horse who is absolutely jading those numbers a little bit from Michael McCarthy. That was call sign 7 at Del Mar. And there's also a 10-1 for Christophe Clement, May 2nd. That jades that a little bit. Almendares, we're going to be coming from off the pace with Tyler Gaffalione aboard. He was aboard last time out in the Pegasus World Cup, finishing third behind test score at 37-1. His last win was July 19th in a restricted stakes race. But look at Astronomer. Pretty consistent, getting into the money, 10 for 23. Is 0 for 7 at Santa Anita, though. Right there. Look at that. 2 seconds, 0 for 7 getting into the winner's circle. Florent Giroux is aboard. Has not been aboard, at least what we see here on the past performances. And then the other horse was the number 3, El Potente, who actually has a bunch of angles pop up. Let's see what they are. Turf route, highest late pace figure, not having a layoff. Success score of 7.2. There's a closer angle in there on the turf with a success score of 7.3. Turf route with the highest late pace figure with an early speed type horse. 23% out of 900 starts. Over the last month, it's hitting at 18%. Over the last 6 months, it's hitting at 23%. So a good angle rate there, popping up for your number 3, El Potente. He's definitely some early speed to pay attention to. Look at the true odds. It actually has this race coming back as a hot pace. A lot of speed. Let's see if my angle said the same. That is true. My angle also said it was a hot pace race. So something to consider there. My angle has it 8-3 with the 2 as a B horse. Race 10, we get Getaway Car and Westwood as the only 2 A horses. So what I like about what I'm seeing here in my model, especially if you're looking at the pick 5, okay, we have a bunch of C's in the first leg. Okay, you have a single in the second leg. Then you have 2 A's, a B, 2 A's in your next 2 legs, finishing off with an other leg that is more spread. That feels like the perfect type of place, at least from a ticket structure standpoint, to lean in and try and play this. That to me is playable. Um, the other thing I like to do is go to my top 4 sheet, and I don't like to see these really dark reds and dark greens. The dark reds in particular probably mean you're getting a heavy favorite, which is exactly what we see with Brant, El Potente, and in this race, Just a Touch, but Just a Touch didn't pop up on the angle, at least on the model as far as the A horses. So you're actually, in this instance, you're playing with 2 A's who are 3-1 and 3.5-1. So to me, from a do I play this? The answer is yes. That doesn't necessarily mean we've come up with the winners yet, but at least from the way the model sees the structure of the horses, I think it's absolutely going to be playable. Getaway Car is trained by Bob Baffert. Remember, he had that incredible finish last year in the Sunland Park Derby with Caldera. Really exciting finish to that race. He had raced against Journalism in the race prior, Citizen Bull a few times, so he was running against some really nice company. And then last time out, January 31st, actually ran against Westwood, who was the other horse who came up on the model. He's your number 7. There's 3 angles on there. The green angle is a grade 1 route, second or better last time out at the same track. So staying on the same track and performing at least first or second last time out. He actually went wire to wire in that San Pasquale. Now moves into the Peter Yurton barn. KK's aboard, who did ride him last time very aggressively. They went 24-48, not crazy, and he was able to shake free of that field. We'll see if Racelands agrees with us. Racelands has the 2 Getaway Car on top with Just a Touch second and Westwood third. So the model is taking a stand against Just a Touch and going with Getaway Car and Westwood. And last but not least, the closeout race at Santa Anita is race number 11. There's 2 A's that'll pop up here. It is the 1 and the 8 will go to the top 4 sheet. It is in line. So that's not always in line. Just because they're A's on the ticket maker does not mean that they're going to be A's on the rankings, or top 1 or 2 in the rankings, I should say. You do get that instance here. And then, so it's 187634, 1876 matches. And then it looks to see that it has the 3 and the 4 as possible pace-capable long shots. So my pace model is separate from the overall model. The overall model takes into consideration the results of the pace model. But what I wanted to do is I saw a lot of horses who had high scores on pace, but then were getting knocked down because their speed figures or their class just didn't keep up. And I saw some prices coming in this with this combination. So I decided to tell it, if you see horses that have high pace scores, let's include them as, possibly C's. And that's what happened right here with the 3 and the 4. So we'll take a look at Raceland and see what it says for pace. Should unfold. No particular running style should be favored. It has 3 horses apparently on the early side of things, with the 1 certainly up front. Although looking at the past performances, has actually been a horse that's sat off the leaders. We'll flip through and see. Okay, so the number 4 looks to appear to show to want to be on the front. And that's really it, actually. That's interesting. Let's look at the model and see And the model actually sees it as a hot pace, which did not appear to be the case. So definitely some mixed reviews here on this last race. Let's back out a step here on Racelens and see who's the top win percentage. And there's not really one standout. You got 17%, 16%, 14%. The 6 pops with the closer angle on the turf. I always like to look for my man Barrios on the turf at Santa Anita. And let's see if we can find him. Is he racing? There he is on the 9. Best turf route jockey around, in my opinion. And he's on a 7-2. The 9 was not on our ticket, so that 9 would be one that I would add based solely on the fact of how good he is. And that 106 speed figure 2 back is actually the best in the race. That was at a mile. He's 1 for 6 at the distance, only 1 for 7 on the turf. And let's take a quick look at the 1 and the 8 who popped. The 1 has a nice progression of speed figures, 84, 90, 91, 99. That was the one that we talked about, it thinking it was going to be on the front end. And then the 8 is also not necessarily progression, but very consistent speed figures, 103, 93, 93, 94, 91, 96. However, not passing many horses. 5th place, 7th place, 4th place, 5th place, 7th place, 4th place finish. So I don't know. That doesn't necessarily feel like an A. Is 0 for 8 at Santa Anita. Is actually 8 for 23 on the dirt and only 1 for 18 on the turf. So intriguing that the model pulls up that 8. I probably would swap out that 8 for the 9 I just talked about. The 6 absolutely looks like a player in here. And I think what we want to get to as we wrap up is the fact that this last race looks pretty wide open. And you could get some prices in here. And so you toss the prices, you toss the favorite in the 10th, you get some prices in the 11th. You hope you're right with Brant, or if you have another horse in there that you're going to use, maybe you get through with your single. And this ticket won't be too crazy. You can go to Ticket Generator, type in these horses in the ABC slot and see what they come up with. I'll also mention for those of you that are playing the pick 5, that in race 7, it kind of was similar to that last race that we just talked about with some chaos. The fact is that with race 7, you have a lot of horses who, the 1's only raced once, the 3's a first-time starter, 4's a first-time starter, 7 is a first-time starter, and 7 popped on my angle because I like to look at sire fees. So Charlatan sire fee 50,000 when it is double. When it's double or more, and when you see this horse sold for 400,000, there is a boost in my algorithm to kind of circle those types of horses when the sire fee is so much less than what the horse sells for, and also pays attention to trainer percentages first time out. John Sadler, first time on the turf, 17%, 7 for 41. It would also pay attention to jockeys first time starters. This is showing Lescano's percentages just in turf sprints, not necessarily on first time starters. He's 6 for 74, and that's only 8%. But you have, again, in the beginning of this pick 5, the 2, the 5, the 11, the 13, all popping as horses that are over 8-1 and pace capable long shots. So we'll cap it there. Like I said, it was my first time looking through, just seeing what the data pulls for us. And we'll do some more handicapping this week on Doubling Down. We're going to go to Tampa Bay. And we have a great prize for those of you to get into the app, doublingdown.glide.page. We're giving away some awesome deals on Racelens for the top 3 finishers in March. So you will get Racelens, and you'll be able to get in and play with these angles, these hunches that you have. I'd love for you to put some of those angles that you pay attention to in the chat, and I can pull the numbers. And, if you think you have an angle that always works because you get it biased, we can do the math, and we can see if it's an actual angle that you should continue playing. Please hit that like and subscribe button for us. Until next time, I'm Colin Sheehan. Good luck to all of you horse players out there.